Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Queen Alita. This is a brand new week. Happy 4th of July to everybody. As you all know, I love Mondays. It's just always a fresh start to me. So today I have a word to share with you guys. It's based on the dream that I had on March 30th that I shared in my last video and in a previous video. I was supposed to come back the day after that video, but I just didn't get a chance to, and I just felt like it was okay. I just felt like God was saying, I'll release it on the right day. And I suppose today is that day. So this is part 2. Before I get into it, please always remember to take every prophetic word before the Lord. This word may not be for you. You may feel that it is. So if you do, take it to him and ask him for confirmation. If it is definitely for you, the Lord will always confirm his word to you in your life. Even if you don't ask, he will confirm it and keep drawing your attention to it. Don't just run off one word or one sign. Always get that confirmation and hear God's voice for yourself. It's so important that you have that relationship. And for those of you who this word actually is confirmation regarding something that the Lord has already spoken to you about, I still encourage you to speak to him about any questions that you may have, so that he can also give you your strategies about the way forward with regards to the word. So without much more delay, this was the dream that I had shared in 2 previous videos. I'm not going to go into the whole dream. I may do a summary of some parts. So like I said, I had it on March 30th, and in this dream, the beginning part was just, I felt like we were in high school and also in, my parents' living room, and I had been preparing to leave, but there had been a situation where, I had fallen asleep, or I was speaking, and somebody that I know in waking life who we're not really close, they're not for me, they came and they were asking me what I was doing, if I was talking to myself, and I had just said, this is how I pray. And they told me about a dream that they had about me and how I was being beaten really badly, and I think the next scene was just me doing my hair, undoing my locks, and releasing my hair into this beautiful afro, but I still knew that I had my locks. So that was the first part of the dream that I have shared before. Now the rest of the dream, my friend who was in the beginning of the dream with me, she I was wondering to myself why she doesn't remove her weave and show her own natural hair more often. So that theme of bondage, where I come from, weave used to be called bonding. Like this was many years ago. It used to be called bonding, and the Lord brought that to my spirit. So bear that in mind. And also how locks are like hair that has been bound together. So after wondering about that, we shifted into this place. It was almost like a scene shift where we were now in this varsity dorm room or college dorm room, or we were just in this space. We weren't quite in our rooms yet. And there was just so much uncertainty. I realized that we were late to pick a room, and therefore we couldn't share a room. And at some point, I'm trying to speak to my friend and get some answers, who has now turned into my sister. But she's going somewhere else, and she's really not paying attention to me. And I'm trying to get her to hear what I'm saying. And at some point, I come into the room that I'm supposed to be in, and I realize that, some of the beds, there's more than 2 beds. It's supposed to be 2 beds. There are way more beds in there. I see a 3rd one. I think I saw a 4th one. And the room was slightly larger than it was before. And there were quite a few beds in there. And then she came into the room, and we were experiencing this together. And I was like, we need to choose a bed that we're going to sleep on. And I chose the one that I liked, and I knew she also wanted that space. But also the bed that we chose, there was another bed behind that. So it seemed this room just got even bigger. There was another bed behind that. But before I get to that bed, we knew that these dormitories were both male and female dormitories. What we didn't know coming into this room was that it wasn't separate rooms for male and female. When I looked at the bed that I had chosen and saw the bed behind us, there were guys there. And I was just completely shocked. Like, this part of the dream for me, there was a lot of uncertainty, and I was shocked and I was worried and just really taken aback by things, really struggling to grasp what was going on and accept things. It was a whole new experience, and I realized that there were men in this room as well, and they were like getting up out of the bed, or the one was getting up out of the bed and he was completely naked. Thank God in the dream I didn't see everything, praise God. But I was just like, nope, no, this is what we are not going to do. I was not having any of that. And the dean was there at this point, and I wanted to speak to him. I was like, wait, I need to speak to you because I don't like what's going on here. There are men in the dormitory rooms with the women. And he was like, oh, he slammed the door. He just walked away and just slammed the door in my face. And I opened the door and I was like, no, please, you have to listen, because, you know, I really have a serious matter. And someone else, I don't know who they were like, yeah, just hear her out. So he stopped and he listened, and I was telling him how there are men in there, and he was like, yeah, it's okay, you know, it's just something different. And I said, no, but I'm married, I have a husband, I can't have any of this. And he said, okay. And then he started to, so I said, what are you going to do about it? And then he started to tell me about solutions for other things. It seemed that he was just on the go, busy, charismatic, busy planning other things, and this was not priority for him. This was not a concern for him. As far as he was concerned, this was fine, this was normal, and that I just had to accept it. So that's the part of the dream that I wanted to share with you guys today. Very unsettling, but this really is a good dream if you have the right perspective. So what the Lord was showing me through this dream is that from the part where that I had shared before, with the person telling me about the dream they had, and me combing out my hair and stuff like that, combing it out from locks into this loose afro, and me thinking about my friend, why doesn't she wear her own hair out more often, and not wear the weave so much. Really, the Lord dropped in my spirit, the bondage that a lot of you have been in, and this bondage just being something that has being covered up in a sense. So you just haven't dealt with certain things, and the Lord is trying to take you out of that bondage from the things that have held you captive for a long time. They're deep rooted things, and this is why there's the imagery of a varsity or a college, is because this is now next level learning, next level healing, stuff to work through, and it's going to be different, and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's not the same as what it was before, because you're coming to new levels. You won't be in the same place as you've been before. And even just the part where I was trying to get the attention of my friend who had turned into my sister, and they weren't paying attention, I really believe that God was showing me that He wants us to come to Him and seek Him for what's happening, especially when things start to happen that we don't understand. Remember Isaiah 43 verse 19, He's doing a new thing. Okay, that's the scripture for today. Go and read it. A new thing is something that has never been done before. So you are going to experience something that is completely different, a huge change, and we're not always excited to accept change. We don't always like it when we get taken out of our comfort zones, or just being in that space of what we're used to. But changes are happening, and they really are related to you being freed of the bondage that you've been in. And I also want you to understand the differentiation between the bondage I'm talking about and how in the past years and months you've been dealing with certain spiritual matters, warfare. You've been in warfare. You've had to contend for your life and certain situations, and you've come into this new life, not a new season, a whole new life. And this is now about you as a person coming out of bondage from all the trauma, from everything that has held you back, that has stopped you from being 100% yourself. This is that part where the Lord wants you to spring forth into greatness, into promotion. That's why this whole picture of the next level of education. You've come out of high school. In the beginning of the dream, if you've listened to other videos, I was kind of like in a high school setting slash in my parents' living room. So you've come out of that. We were getting ready to go, and now the dream shifted into the scene of the university or the college, and all this newness, this strange setup with men and women in the same room within the dorms. And I forgot to mention that in the dream, when I panicked over seeing the guy coming out of the bed, he just chuckled. For him it was funny. And I believe that what the Lord was showing, even with that scene, that whole scene of that room with more than 2 beds and me expecting just 2 beds, what you expect it to be is not what it's going to be. There's going to be a lot more involvement from other people. God is bringing different relationships into your life, and this is why you have to come out of that bondage. This is why deeper healing has to happen, because you're going to be coming into more intimate relationships with people than you did before. And obviously, you're going to move forward in the wisdom of the Lord. You're not just going to be vulnerable and intimate with everybody. And by intimate, I mean close relationships. I'm not talking about romantic relationships, just close relationships, getting close with people, coming into vulnerable spaces with some people. So the Lord is going to use the most unlikely people around you. He's going to set you up with people that you don't expect, but they're going to be such a blessing to you. And even that dean, I believe that this is somebody in a leadership position that the Lord is even going to use to help you get over yourself, in a sense, to not be so panicked about situations, to understand that there's a bigger picture. He was more concerned about planning stuff that, he was getting ready to go with the year and just, starting things off and getting things done. And, I came with this qualm of there are men in the room, and he was like, yeah, I know. So just deal with it, because he had a job to do. And the Lord is going to place a person or people in your life who are an authority figure in your life, who are going to help you come into the right perspective and understand there's a bigger picture, and there's a reason why you're going to be in uncomfortable situations. It's because God is drawing certain things out of you. It's because He's trying to get you to a place where you can fully operate in what you need to. Going to varsity or college is about getting ready to go out into the workplace, to go and spring forth into all that you can be with the knowledge that you have, right? And this kind of scenario, when it's from the Lord, it's not just about learning, it's about healing as well, deeper healing. That coming out of the hair and the weave situation, coming out of that personal bondage, things that have kept you traumatized and have had you kind of like living a life where you try to self-preserve and you try to be in control of as much as you can as possible. And the Lord is saying that's not an option anymore. Self-preservation and being in control is not an option. This is something that God needs you to do to help you. So this whole scenario is something that God is setting up to help you relinquish control, to trust Him completely, and to spring forth into the new thing. Okay, so everybody who this word is for needs to understand that this is going to be initially uncomfortable. And it's going to be a shock to the system, but it's going to be good for you. And you got to understand there's a bigger picture here than what you are seeing. So that is the word for today. Believe it or not, there is a final part to this dream. It was a long dream, and I'll be sharing that as the Lord releases me to share that. I'm not going to say tomorrow like I did last time, because I was wrong. So as the Lord allows me to release the rest of this dream, I will share it with you. But for today, this is what the Lord wanted you to hear, whoever this word is for. All right, friends, I will see you, I'll see you in the next video. Always remember that God is a good Father. He loves you so much because you, my friend, are so deeply special to Him.